This is Jason with Chicago News, and this week we get to spend a little bit more time with this 2017 Beetle 1.8T Dune Edition. This Dune Edition sits a little bit higher, albeit only about a half an inch than the standard Beetle. It's got a little bit wider flares. Overall, just a really cool off-road appearance. But let's hop in and see if the performance stacks up to the appearance. Well, the first thing you notice when you hop into this Beetle Dune Edition is this really cool body colored trim on the inside, all across the dashboard, on the door panels here. That really cool exterior color is echoed here on the inside. It's kind of a reminder that you're driving something a little bit more fun, a little more different than a regular Beetle. Fire up the key and start driving, you realize that this is no different than any other front-wheel drive 1.8T powered Volkswagen. The Golf, the Jetta, all of those cars, and even the standard Beetle have this same powertrain, 170 horsepower, turbo 1.8. And ultimately, in this Dune Edition, all of the additional appearance items that have been added, the extra ride height, the extra width flares, makes this have less coefficient of friction. It makes it a little draggier, so this doesn't get as good a mileage as some of the other cars that have this engine. So again, it falls short because it doesn't have the performance, also loses a little bit of efficiency. Some of the other things we love about the interior are these gray cloth seats with contrasting yellow piping and stitching. They look really cool, they match the aesthetic of this car. The steering wheel is great, yellow cross-stitching pattern, Dune logo here in the center. Some nice touches to really round out the design of this car. Another thing we appreciate is the simplicity of the controls. If you've been in any Volkswagen Jetta or Golf, you know all of these controls. You know the infotainment system, you know the HVAC system. So many cars these days are trying to reinvent the wheel and give all of these complex control systems. It's really nice to get into a car that has a basic system that's easy to use. That can be refreshing these days. One thing you do get performance-wise out of the higher ride height is a little bit better ride comfort. So this soaks up the bumps better than the standard Beetle would. You also have specific 18-inch wheels and a different tire set here. All of those contribute to a better ride. So you do get at least something out of the extra ride height. Another bright spot on the inside here is the audio system. Really great sounding stereo, and it does so without having a fancy home audio brand name to slap on here. So they've just done a really good job with the audio system here. Again, not a lot in the way of active safety features here. This is a pretty basic car, and it shows and it reflects in the price. It starts at around $24,000, and really not much in the way of options. It'd be hard to option one of these, at least in the hardtop version, for much more than $26,000, $27,000. The more you drive this Beetle, the more you ask yourself what this Dune Edition really is getting you over a standard Beetle, and the more you look at this color, it's really that. You know, they offer this in a couple of mundane colors as well. I just don't see the appeal. This color is really probably the highlight of this vehicle. It's a really cool color. Let's see what this 1.8T can do. It's got a lot of punch and torque. It's really impressive what they've done out of a 1.8T. Now, when this was first shown as a concept car at an auto show, it was supposed to come with the 2-liter, over 200 horsepower engine, and you know, that would have made it, again, a little bit more fun over the standard version. This engine is the same engine you could get in the standard Beetle. Another thing that really would have made this stand out is that if they'd given it all-wheel drive. There aren't a lot of cars in this class, in this size, in this price range, that are all-wheel drive to begin with. So they could have done a double whammy, because they would have had a really cool off-road look and then performance, all-wheel drive performance to back it up, and they'd be touching a niche market that doesn't have a lot of players in it. So I know it's next to impossible to adapt their current all-wheel drive architecture to this chassis, but it could have been something that would be worth doing. I think they could sell a whole heck of a lot of these if it was all-wheel drive. One thing you get that's the same in other Beetles is the amount of interior space you have. It's really impressive considering how small these look from the outside. You think, oh, that's a cute little bug. There's a ton of headroom. I'm 6'3", and look at how much there is above here. There's a lot of SUVs we drive that don't have this much clearance. So you can slide this seat far back enough, I think, for an NBA to sit in here. So this is impressive considering the outside shape of this vehicle. You know, there's a new class of these micro city cars that are coming out. What's great about the Beetle is it gives you the shorter overall length by having shorter overhangs. And the overhang, what I mean by that is the amount of space between the actual wheel and the front of the car. So here you have really short overhangs, and that gives you the short overall length to help with parking, but it retains a ton of interior space. So what's the verdict on this Dune Edition Beetle? Well, we love the looks. It's definitely fun to look at, but the performance does fall short. We wish it had a little bit more power, certainly all-wheel drive. Overall, this is all about looks, and if that's what you're after, go check one out.